What up? Have no fear, the I Am Rapaport Stereo podcast is here today. Me and G Moody, whose last name rhymes with duty, have special guest, NBA badass, an outside-the-box thinker but conventional shit talker, NBA vet, former NBA vet, former Kansas Jayhawk, Scott Pollard is rocking with us on the I Am Rapaport Stereo podcast. Tommy Loren, Fox News reporter Tommy Loren has finally earned herself a spot on this week's Sick Fucks of the Week. And Donald Trump Jr.'s wife is divorcing his funny-looking ass. All that and more on a Smash Mouth award-winning I Am Rapaport Stereo podcast coming up next with G Moody, last name rhymes with duty, and special guest Scott Pollard, Miles Jordan. Yo, let me get something real funky, because we're about to do something real nice, something real proper. Let's go. All right, that's that funk. Yeah, that's that funk. Those are those Moody beats.
That's for sure.
Nice. You cooked that one up real nice, real proper. Moody, how you feeling, Mr. Moody?
I feel good, man. Everything is good. Little dusting of snow, but nothing to go crazy about.
Yeah.
Not cold. It's okay.
Do you smell spring on the way? We're at March. We're at the halfway point of March 2018.
Not yet. We still kind of brick in the morning, so we just got to wait it out. But we're gonna be there soon, a couple of weeks.
For those of you who care, my birthday's just around the corner. I just want everybody to know that. I will be working on my birthday. On season 2 of the Netflix show Atypical. And on that same day, I will probably be recording some Smash Mouth podcasting with G Moody, whose last name rhymes with duty. I will be turning 48. I look great, by the way. I just want to say this, Moody, I haven't seen you in a couple of weeks. I look fantastic, and I'll tell you why.
The intermittent fasting is working well for you.
The fasting is one thing, and also I got a fantastic skincare regimen. I got this woman, she puts on and removes my makeup on Atypical, the Netflix show we're working on with the great Jennifer Jason Leigh, who I got to tell you, I'm going to forget where I started. Sometimes when I'm working with Jennifer Jason Leigh and I'm acting with her, and I told her this the other day, I'm like, you're a motherfucker. Like, she hits those notes, like when you're working with someone really good, like acting. I've been doing it for so long, like film and television acting, and there's so much bullshit that goes on in the business, and there is so much hurry up and wait, but the feeling that I get between action and cut when you're actually doing your thing, and when I'm rocking with somebody like Jennifer Jason Leigh, it's why you do it. It is like elation. It's like, if you're a pianist and you just get in the groove, or if you're an artist and you're just painting something, or if you're a basketball player and all the shots go in, sometimes I get that feeling when I'm acting, and it's like, it's sexual. And it's not like sexual between me and the person. I don't want to put that connotation. It's like an elation. It's like a sexual. That's the only thing you could compare it to. It's like a sexual sort of feeling. Like you just like it's a high.
Oh man,
I don't know where the fuck. Oh,
makeup.
Oh yeah. So I was saying that I look fantastic. The intermittent fasting is doing me well, and this is a first. This is an exclusive, the I Am Rapaport Stereo podcast, and the reason why it's an exclusive, G, is because I don't think anyone else gives a fuck. But since this is the I Am Rapaport Stereo podcast, I will share this with you, G Moody, whose last name rhymes with duty, and all the listeners who I gotta say I fucking appreciate all of you motherfuckers.
Mm-hmm. Of course, man.
Moody, sometimes. Yo. When we're talking off mic, we'll say, can you fucking believe this shit? Can you believe that we have the best podcast in the entire world? Like, we will actually say that. Me and G Moody will say that. Sometimes the young shooter will chime in. The Dust Brothers, Miles and Jordan, will be like, yo, can you fucking believe that hip-hop took it this far?
No. Yeah, I believe it. We the best, man. That's it. That's what it's about. Everybody says it. People know it. And we've proven it.
Time and time again. Time and time again. Again, where did I start? Oh, looking fantastic. Right. So, number one, I got a skincare regimen. This woman got some French shit she puts on me. And, you know, one of the lesser known dirty secrets of white privilege is sun poisoning. See, we have that. It's not something that we talk about, but the sun, just from our mere existence of being alive every day, will fuck your skin up if you are a very pale, particularly the Ashkenazi Jews. You know, they say the Jews run the world. Well, the Jews also have sun poison. I have that.
Man.
That
I hear you. The sun makes flowers grow, but it kills y'all motherfuckers.
That's really funny. That's funny to make fun of the. But
go ahead.
But the intermittent fasting, the working out. I've been going to Wild Card Boxing Gym, and my running / walking / push-ups / strolls at Runyon Canyon, which I've been talking to you about. Don't forget, I got to remind you, I saw somebody up at Runyon Canyon today. I was up there with Toby. We were like, what the fuck? But for the last 3 weeks, Mr. Moody, I have been on a vegetarian diet. Now, I don't like to talk about this shit because, like, my man Toby Morse from the band H2O, good friend of mine, one of the most positive fucking guys you'll ever meet. I mean, sometimes I'm just like, I just want to bring this fucking guy down. He's with his PMA. He lives it. He breathes it. Sometimes I just want to be like, why don't you shut the fuck up, Toby? You know, you're just too fucking happy-go-lucky. But because I started that fast that I was on a couple of weeks ago that I talked endlessly about, I call it the olives in a bag diet. And because I have such a loving wife who cares about me, you know, and because, you know, I've had these health issues, you know, I talk about the inflammation, another lesser known secret, dirty secret of white privilege, particularly the Jews. We have inflammation.
Of what?
Excuse me?
Inflammation of what? Inside
our internal organs, inflammation of the body. You have it too, fuck.
I ain't got that shit.
No, motherfucker. Listen,
black
people have stuff too.
No,
it's not just all running fast and jumping high. Black people have a lot of stuff in their eating habits that aren't good also, fuck.
You don't hear me talking shit about my body, motherfucker. That's you.
Please.
Go ahead. Keep going.
Listen, you're not fucking winning any awards, asshole.
Hey, you training and running on mountains. Who you fighting? Larry Holmes?
Yeah, you ain't winning no fucking awards. I seen you with your shirt off. You ain't winning no fucking awards at the Beachbody breakdown this summer, asshole.
Hey, I got a perfect physical after not seeing a doctor in 25 years.
Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here, man.
Yeah,
stay off the fried foods, fuck.
I'm eating Cheerios, motherfucker. I'm good.
Stay off the fried foods, asshole. This guy's the fucking guy. He eats all kind of shit.
That's right, and I'm still good.
Yeah,
you stay on that mountain. You and Toby stay on that fucking mountain.
Yeah, this guy can't even lift his fucking arms above his head. You should have seen Moody in the 80s and the 90s. This guy can't even touch his fucking toes now.
Crazy, bro. Go ahead.
Can you touch your toes?
Yo, I got a perfect physical, and I haven't been to the doctor in 25 years.
I'm asking you can you touch your fucking toes?
Of course.
You can touch your
ball.
toes.
I can play ball. I can run. I can dunk. I can do all that shit, B.
Wait. You could dunk?
Yeah. What the fuck? Ain't shit changed.
Gerald.
I could dunk a basketball. I'm 182 pounds.
You can't dunk jack shit.
I never hit the threshold.
Fucking tee you now. You send a video of you dunking on a 10-foot rim.
Oh, easily.
Well, you send it.
All right, no problem.
Okay,
Easy.
The listeners out there, hawk and hem and break this guy's balls. You send a video. I never saw you dunk on a 10-foot rim in your prime.
Oh, you bugging, man. You'll see. See, I don't need all that shit. You need all kind of shit. You need the fucking Raisin Bran, running around. I don't need that, my friend. And I'm still good. But go ahead, talk about the how your body all swole up. Go ahead.
Nonetheless, I've been on a vegetarian diet, exploring what this is like. First of all, I don't know if it does anything. I will say that. Number two, it's a pain in the ass. It is a fuck. Now, if you're at home, you can prepare these things. But when you're out and about and you're hungry, I don't know what to do. Like if you pull over on the side of the road and eat some lettuce or what the fuck you do. I don't know what you do.
Get some wings, man. What? All right, you're vegan now. What are you eating?
No, I didn't say vegan. I said vegetarian.
All right, so
rice, beans,
help people.
All sorts of vegetables. Rice, beans, all sorts of vegetables. Fish. You can have fish. I think that's called a pescatarian, but I haven't been doing that. But it's rice, beans. You can eat everything except for meat.
Okay, I'm with you. I'm rolling with you. I fuck with you, but yo, that's a good thing, cause you need shit like that. You coughing and stuff, so we don't want you to fucking pass out.
Yeah, I think it's having a good effect.
That's all that matters, man.
So we'll see. But that was an I Am Rapaport Stereo podcast exclusive. I'm very excited about this, and I want to congratulate Vanessa Trump. Vanessa Trump, she bounced. She's had enough.
From Donald Trump Jr.?
She is divorcing Dick Stain Donald Trump Jr. Now, listen, I've been through a divorce. It's no laughing matter, but any girl, any woman with any sort of spine, how are they going to deal with these guys? This guy, first of all, he's got ginormous fucking teeth, okay? Second of all, he's a daddy's boy. He stands by his father, his every single words. He's got no fucking balls, okay? And I just want to say, Vanessa, congratulations on your decision. There's plenty of fish in the sea. I'm sure you got yourself a nice prenup. I'm sure you'll be taken care of. I don't know if they have any kids. This is the I Am Rapaport Stereo podcast. We do not fact check, but you can do way better for yourself and live in a less stressful environment. Can you imagine being Donald Trump Jr.'s wife and all that entails? Forget all the fly shit and the shopping sprees and the private plane. Just imagine the bullshit she has to deal with all the time. I couldn't even imagine.
Hey, and he's a hunter. Imagine having the monkeys' heads in the fucking toilet, all kind of shit on the walls. Hey, you put up with that for all the shopping sprees and the G-Force jets and all that.
Yeah, well, Vanessa, she's done. They were married for 12 years, and she is done. I'm just waiting for Melania, while he's in office, to be like, I'm fucking done too. Me and Vanessa, we're done. We're running for president. And she's my first lady. Come out with guns blazing on these guys. Melania, step into the light. Fuck this guy.
Nah, Melania is grateful. He took her out of scores, man. Shit, she was on the pole. Donald took her out of scores. She gonna be right there with him.
What else do we got here? There's so many sick fucks of the week. Yo, you know what I wanted to talk to you about?
What up?
Did you read the Rolling Stone magazine article about Meek Mill and everything that's happened to him since he's been in jail, and like the details of this judge, this no good judge that's been harassing this dude for years and years and years and fucking with Meek Mill? You know, we had made a joke about it before. Yo, this dude's gonna wind up suing the state of Pennsylvania. There's corrupt cops, fucked up judges, and all kinds of crazy shit. Yo, Meek Mill is a victim.
Really?
Yo, you should read this article. If anybody hasn't read it, it's online, rollingstone.com. It's called #FreeMeekMill. Yo, this dude's been beaten up by cops. This woman has been on his ass. I don't know why. This is a no good judge.
Oh, wow. I got to check it out. I'll reserve comment.
Yeah, you got to check it out because, it's crazy what's happening. It's crazy that she was doing it to somebody who's so famous still. Like, when he was younger, he was doing dumb shit. He knows that. But she kept on him, and now there's corrupt cops. Yo, this dude's going to get out of jail. I guarantee he'll be out of jail in the next 6 weeks. I'm surprised he's still in jail right now. And then he's going to wind up suing the state of Pennsylvania. And this judge, I'll bet you this judge, based on this article, Rolling Stone Magazine, they do good reporting. Rolling Stone Magazine isn't just...
Right, a rag.
Yeah, and a pop culture magazine. There's some crazy shit that this guy's been through.
Right. That's good, man. Because I was under the impression that he violated the parole and he did a lot of shit, and it was a lot of uproar for that. But now I see the judge is on some shit, so I got to check it out.
We have some great sick fucks of the week. I'm so excited about the sick fucks of the week. Right. We're gonna get to later. I almost want to just do them now, but I'm gonna save it. Did you see what happened in Florida? This brand new bridge that they just brought out with all this new technology. It's like they did construction on it and then they were able to move it. It's like some new. It's called an instant bridge. And unfortunately, the bridge collapsed the other day with many casualties right over there by Florida International University, like a small bridge, like a walk bridge, like a pathway bridge. Terrible, man. And they just had like an unveiling ceremony, I think a week ago. Middle of the day, the entire thing collapsed. Cars were crushed underneath it. Many lives were lost in an instant. Boom.
Wow. Who's the fucking engineers, man? You gotta go to the Hooskow for that, man. You gotta go to prison for that.
I know what I wanted to tell you.
All right.
So remember the comment, by the way, I can't remember this woman's name. It's been a couple of weeks. But it was another Fox reporter. She's the one who said, shut up and dribble to Kevin Durant and LeBron James.
Yeah.
And I did my rant, and that rant wound up going viral, and that same rant wound up getting me suspended off Twitter for 7 days. Well,
Laura
now that
Ingram.
same rant that I put up probably like 3 weeks ago, maybe 4 weeks ago, I don't know. Yeah, probably 3 or 4 weeks ago, it was right before All-Star break. The same fucking rant just got me kicked off of Facebook for 30 days.
Oh. Hey, they don't play around, man. Your rants, you need to use better language. You're using a lot of coarse language, cuss words. That's why you're getting fucking taken off. Clean up the language, say the same stuff, they won't take you off.
Yeah, fuck that, man. Listen, they want to talk all that shit and be insulting and that racial buzzwords, those bird whistles and those dog calls. I'm going to call you exactly what you are. I'm going to call you exactly what you are. And if it means getting kicked off Facebook for 30 days, so be it. If it means getting kicked off Twitter, so be it. There's other forums. I'll have other people post my shit. Fuck it, man. These people, they say all this crazy shit. Shut up and dribble. LeBron never graduated high school. It's just not even true. And there's such vile racism. And yeah, I could use different language, but the beauty of the rants is I'm keeping it funky. All the way funky. If you're cockeyed and you're talking greasy, you're going to get it.
Right.
and if that means, me being the sacrificial lamb of Facebook for 30 days and the sacrificial lamb of Twitter for 30 days, so fucking be it.
But you lose out on 30 days of rants that people could see.
I know that. You need
to hold your head, B.
But that's why I'm sharing it with people here. Free Rapaport. # free Rapaport on Facebook. Those fucks. Such bullshit. I mean, you see, the thing that's crazy is like, I'm using words. You could go on Facebook and Twitter and literally put up the word asshole bleaching. And you'll actually get taken to sites with people that have bleached their asshole. Men, women, and everything in between. But I say something about a reporter, having a flat ass or being cockeyed, and they shut me down. It's crazy, man, because if you look on Facebook, the vile stuff that's on there.
Right. Of course. I don't know, man. I mean, you're a public person. These, hey, language. Try different language and see what happens.
Yeah, fuck that, man. And fuck you, too. You're Mr. fucking eloquent.
Hey, I could say what you said without all that cuss words, man.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, you're real feisty today, huh? You could dunk and you could talk without cursing. I'll see what the fuck you got. Make sure you post that dunk video. When do you think you'll have that dunk video up? I think it should be up. Why don't you post it with this this weekend?
Oh, we got to go through this again. Check this out, man. I think you should stop fucking with me.
Duke,
First of all,
Duke, I just asked you a simple question. When's the dunk video getting posted?
You mocked the intermittent fasting before. You laughed at me and ridiculed me. Now you're fucking touting it as the best thing in the world and this and that. Yo, let me tell you something, B. I could dunk. I could do all that shit. I eat what the fuck I want. I'm grateful for having this type of body, B. Don't jock me.
Yo, when are you posting the dunk video? When are you posting the dunk video?
Spring. When it get a little warm
why
out
does it
here.
gotta be spring? Just
I'll
go
do
out
it in
there
the
and
fucking
dunk.
park.
Just go out
do
there
it in
and
the
dunk.
park. I do it in the park. I need a little time to get these legs limber.
Okay. Spring. So maybe you post the dunk video and then we have like a little celebration at the Gloom Tomb in the Bronx. How about that?
Yeah. And then after that, you clap boards. You clap boards and we good. You ain't got to dunk. Just clap boards.
All right, you know what? Fuck it. Let's just get to it. Miles, Jordan, please cue the sick fuck of the week music. This award is earned, not given. It's called the sick fuck of the week. This guy's really sick. Lock him up.
How could you do it?
Don't let him out.
Damn, you fucked the dog?
You what?
You fucked the dog? Why would you fuck the dog?
Why would you fuck your girlfriend's dog?
What? Sick fuck.
The sick fuck of the week. It's earned.
Earned.
Not given. You did. What? No. Yes, this is it. This is the sick fuck of the week. Music. I'm going to run the gamut because the other day I said I can't even continue because there were so many upsetting, disturbing sick fucks of the week. But this week I'm just going to go. This might be a record-breaking amount of sick fucks of the week. And to recap the last sick fucks of the week, a bill has been passed. United Airlines, the airlines that killed that poor puppy that was featured on last episode, Sick Fuck of the Week, they have killed 41 animals. 41 animals. I believe it was 84 animals total have died while in flight.
Oh.
A bill was just passed to try to help this. And which brings me to another thing we talked about in the last episode. When the government wants to do something like save animals, which is a great thing, they can do it. But taking away guns from people, they can't figure that out. They can't and won't and refuse to figure that out. But they're doing something to help the animals. You can't compare the two, but I think it's called the wolf bill is being passed, and I think one of the Kennedys had something to do with it.
Oh, good.
Sick fuck of the week, number one. Tommy Loren. Tommy fucking Loren. Tommy
Again.
the jump off Loren. The Fox News pinup girl with the bleach blonde hair. Donald Trump's henchman. She is in the streets fighting for Donald Trump every single way, shape possible. She is a Republican pinup girl. She went on, I think she went on Snapchat or some sort of social media. She's so dumb. She's such a sick fuck. Miles, Jordan, play the videotape.
Coda, why didn't you tell the world what you were doing during my entire Fox and Friends hit? Oh, I know, chewing on her damn bone as loud as she possibly could. So I had to kick her about 5 times during the show. So thank you, Coda, for that.
Yes, that is Tommy Loren saying that while she was on Fox and Friends News the other day, her dog, her beautiful little chihuahua, looks like a chihuahua, was making a little noise. And Tommy the jump off kicked the dog 5 times. She said she kicked her dog multiple times because the little dog was making too much noise during her fucking national television appearance. You sick fuck you. You animal. You're so excited to be on TV with your bleached blonde hair and your over bleached big horse teeth that you kicked your dog. You sick fuck you.
Oh, man. I have nothing to say. Go ahead.
Second sick fuck. Ex-deputy Scott Peterson. This is terrible. This is the deputy who was on site at the Parkland school shooting. Video surveillance has come out. This is the guy who didn't go into the school when he knew there was a mass shooting with children.
Frozen with fear.
Frozen with fear. Did you see the videotape of this?
No, I heard about it.
He wouldn't go in the school. He didn't do anything.
Yeah.
He didn't do a fucking thing. Yo, I wonder, are there criminal charges? There's an investigation.
It should be. You know, when you start hearing them live rounds, it's different. And if you don't have that special something, you're going to be frozen with fear. Them live rounds and people, if you don't have that something in you, you shouldn't be a cop. You shouldn't be a firefighter. It's special people are firefighters, paratroopers, like our guys out there in Afghanistan, and cops, man. You got to be special for that shit, man.
Do something, man. Call somebody. Do something.
Yeah.
Do something. You can't. These are kids in there. Kids lost their lives. Adults lost their lives.
Yeah, you got to come in there with guns blazing, so at least you could be a hero or, go out in the line of fire, but just standing behind on some scaredy cat shit. Now you're in infamy. Now you're like, man, it's terrible.
An engaged Ohio teacher is another sick fuck of the week. Brooke Rosendale, who I can't confirm whether or not she's Jewish, but that sounds like a Jewish name to me.
Uh-huh.
Brooke Rosendale feels like a Jewish name. She was engaged to a guy, pleaded guilty to having sex with a 13-year-old female student. This is a female teacher having sex with a 13-year-old female student. Now, if this was a guy, we would automatically say Wonder Bread, bag, and olive oil treatment. This woman's going to prison, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the true essence of a sick fuck. A 27-year-old teacher
Married,
having
right?
sexual interactions with a 13-year-old female student?
Man.
I mean, could you imagine if this is your daughter and this is happening? Like, I would be just devastated. I would be heartbroken if something like this happened. I don't understand. It's like this happens all the time now.
Yeah, I know. Like we said, it's just commonplace. It's bad. I made fun of this shit for guys, but it's just bad all the way around, man. It's just, these teachers are sick, man. They be doing this shit with married. One I saw was fucking around with a retarded kid. Imagine your wife fucking with a retarded motherfucker.
Come on, man. You got to be really nuts to be doing that, man.
That's her man, and you at work, and she fucking with a nigga with a helmet.
Another sick fuck. A boyfriend and girlfriend, young. They seem like they're, like in their mid-20s. The girlfriend saw the guy had a dating app on his phone. Uh-huh. Her name is Emily Javier, and her boyfriend's name is Alex Lovell. She was so irate, she went and purchased a samurai sword, like on some Bruce Lee, samurai shit, some Kill Bill shit.
Yeah.
And tried to kill this dude, cut him up, fucked him up, cut his hands, cut his face. My man had stitches in the hospital and all. And it was an attack. Like he was able to, to fend her off.
Wow. Because of the app? Because he had a dating app?
It's crazy, man.
Oh, man, he had a crazy broad.
No shit. You could kill somebody
broad.
with this. They caught her. She's been under arrest.
Good.
Charges have been pressed. But like a fucking samurai sword.
Oh. He's lucky. And I'm sure there were things that led up to him He should have known you know when you're dealing with a crazy broad. It's always something immediately that go, oh, shit.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yo, speaking of Facebook, speaking of crazy women and crazy guys and crazy relationships, a woman in Georgia, now see, they kicked me off Facebook for talking shit for 30 days. Yeah. A woman in Georgia was jailed for writing stuff about her ex-husband who was cheating on her, treating her like shit and all that stuff. She was put in jail. I think it was defamation.
Wow. That's what it's...
Yo, this is where we're at now. Yo, this social media shit, yo, they're putting people in jail. You're getting, you're meeting up on these dating apps. People are getting killed and beaten up and all this stuff. This social media shit is no joke.
Yeah. Yo, that dating shit is dangerous. I wouldn't be rocking that anyway. Like, I can't do that. Dating apps and all that, that's dangerous in and of itself.
Even if you're a guy, you don't know what kind of trap you're walking into. You're getting catfished. You don't know what's going on out there.
Yeah. Just do the old way. Bag chicks on the train, kick it to them at John Jay, like Nas said, and, get them on the streets, man. Fuck all that other shit.
Yet another sick fuck of the week. I told you the beat was going to go on. In Iowa City, sick fuck. Basketball coach, a prominent basketball coach. Craig Steffen, whatever the fuck his name is. And if you look at the picture of Craig Steffen, you know what he looks like, G. Monetti?
What?
A sick fuck.
Hits the title.
Iowa basketball coach filmed players nude in the hotel bathroom. His own players. While they were disrobing, getting ready to shower in the hotel room.
Oh, man.
These charges carry 15 to 30 years in prison. Now, see, this guy will most likely, if he's found guilty and convicted, he will, in fact, get the Wonder Bread bag and olive oil treatment while on lockdown. But the woman who had sex with the 13-year-old girl, I don't know how she's punished in prison. See, men do it differently.
Yeah. We got to come up with something.
I don't know. I don't know how this works.
And that guy, yo, man, that's why he got into coaching. These are perverts. There should be some type of vetting for coaches, man. This guy, if that was my son and something like that, yo, man, I'd get him. I'd be after him. I'll get you. We got to do something. Then you go to jail.
More sick fucks. More sick fucks. More sick fucks.
Word.
A North Carolina mother threatened to bomb her son's school because she was upset with her son's recent punishments. Barbara Sherrill was arrested. Charges are now pending. If you look up Barbara Sherrill, the last name is spelled Sherrill. Guess what she looks like, Mr. Moody?
What, pray tell?
A sick fuck. She really looks nuts. In this day and age, to be calling in threats saying you're going to bomb a school. Yo, the school got evacuated. K-9 units came through. Police came through. Kids were freaked out.
Yeah.
All because her son was involved in a fight and she didn't approve of the punishment. So you threaten to bomb the school? You're the problem. And now you're going to jail. You can't do no crazy shit like that.
Yeah. Jail time. I always want jail time for shit like that. That's a deterrent. Jail time. A lot of jail time.
More sick fucks, more sick fucks, more sick fucks. A Florida teenager. You know how when you're a teenager, your friends, they sleep over?
Yeah.
This sick fuck down in Florida. I hate to be redundant. I really do. But take a guess what Corey Johnson looks like.
What?
A sick fuck. And he's a 17-year-old sick fuck. He had a sleepover at his house. A few kids slept over at his house. A 13-year-old and a 15-year-old and a couple of other boys. His mother was there. This lunatic stabbed 2 of the boys at the sleepover. Can you imagine? your son goes to a sleepover and you get called in the middle of the night.
Oh, yo, man, you coming up with some shit today? I
told
I'm
you.
Speechless.
I told you. This is
17-year-old.
I mean, to be 17 and to be the sick fuck of the week, like you're an underage sick fuck.
Yeah, and why you not dealing with no chicks at 17? I mean, your interest should peak with girls. You gonna stab motherfuckers for what?
I don't know. I do not know what's going on. I told you I had a whole lot of sick fucks.
I see.
Finally, another sick fuck. I think this is a follow-up to a sick fuck.
Bonanza.
The Oregon daycare owner, okay, who drugged to get them to sleep children at her daycare so she could what? She could go tanning. This is a person. You drop your kids off at a daycare center. 7 kids were drugged with melatonin, including a 6-month-old, at her illegal daycare place called Little Giggles in Bend, Oregon. This woman, so she could put them out, left these kids unattended on melatonin, which is something I take if I can't sleep or I got to wake up early and I've been working or something like that. She's been convicted 21 years in prison. Now, listen, I think this is a sick fuck, but 21 years in prison?
Hey, you can't do that. You jeopardizing the kids, giving them drugs. Well, you don't know if they can handle that. What if one of them dies?
I know.
So the judge erred on the side of caution. 21. Of course, it's going to be shortened, but just to say 21 years.
Crazy.
Is a motherfucker.
All right, before we get to Scot Pollard, this is just the climate that we're in. So American Idol is back, the show American Idol. You know, megastar Katy Perry.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if you saw this the other day on American Idol. I watched the show. So one of these kids came on the show. He's 19 years old. I guess he said he was a virgin. Katy Perry liked him singing. He's a cute kid. He's 19. He comes over to Katy Perry after performing. Lionel Richie's up there. You know, he's one of the judges, and I think Nick Jonas is one of the judges, or one of these people. Not Nick Jonas. I don't know who the fucking judge is. I know Lionel Richie's up there, who's like 96. He looks like he's 60.
Yeah, Lionel look good. Lionel look good.
So Katy Perry kissed this kid on the lips. Quick kiss on the lips. And this fucking guy's like complaining about it now. He's saying he felt uncomfortable and I wanted to save it for my first relationship, and he's making a big thing about it.
Oh, money, come on, man. This is one of the world's famous stars trying to kiss you on the lips, and you got something to say? Yo, Rap. I don't got nothing to say to that dude, man.
I mean, then this is like a whole thing now. Now there's like backlash with Katy Perry, like, saying it was, like she sexually violated him. She didn't even slip any tongue, but she's saying it was against his will. He felt uncomfortable. What the fuck is going on in the world here, man?
He felt uncomfortable. I bet he got an erection.
That's why you got uncomfortable. You popped a little wood. That's natural. You should be happy about it. You want to break Katy Perry's balls? She's doing it for the show. She gave you a quick little kiss. It's not like she grabbed your ass and stuck her tongue down your mouth.
Yeah. 19. This is a guy. This is the shit we getting into.
This is what we're getting into.
I would love to have one of those stars. Imagine Lola Falana and these motherfuckers try to tongue my ass down. You think I would be fucking talking shit?
Complaining about it. All right, listen. We got Scotty Pollard, okay? You remember Scotty Pollard played at Kansas, played in the NBA, played against Shaq, played against Akeem, played against David Robinson, played against Vlade Divac. Big time shit talker, goon.
Fu Manchu.
All kinds of hairstyles. Played with the Sacramento Kings, the Kings that played against Shaq and Kobe. They always came up short. Played with C-Web, White Chocolate, Mike Bibby, Vlade Dottie. And that fun team. Scot Pollard coming up next on the I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast. Came, saw, conquered, and talked a lot of shit. Miles, Jordan. Let me get some funk and bring us in to my guy, Scotty P. I just called him that. I don't know if anyone ever called him. I'm sure someone else has called him Scotty P. Motherfucking Scot Pollard coming up next on the I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast. Yo, Scott.
What's up?
It's Michael Rapaport.
Yeah, I kind of figured that.
Ha ha ha. You ready to go?
Oh, I'm ready.
All right, cool, man. I appreciate it. You're like an iconic.
So I'm going to ask you to be on mine, too.
Oh, it's done. It's done.
Yeah.
Let,
all right, cool.
let the dust settle from this barn burner, and then I'll come on.
Yeah. I'm not in a rush.
I'm
just
down.
Getting started. So I'm trying to build an audience. So you got an audience. So
Absolutely.
I'm just trying to build one. So
Absolutely.
I appreciate it, man.
How are you enjoying doing a podcast? I haven't heard Planet Pollard yet.
I've only got 6 in. I'm very family friendly thus far. I've dropped a few cuss words on it, but it's just because I don't know. I'm still feeling out which way I want to go with it. But mostly right now, it's just been like therapy for me.
Right.
I'm just throwing shit out there that builds up in my mind, and I just get it out. So it's been some stories, some thought of the day, some positive stuff, but I've kind of kept to a formula every week with it. But it's fun. I'm enjoying it, but again, I'm only 6 in, so I don't even know if I've found the right voice or the right menu items yet.
I'm sure you will. I mean, I think that at this point in 2018, podcasts are like assholes. Everybody's got one. Like everybody, me, you,
Yep.
my gardener's son. Everybody's got podcasts. So it's a fun thing. I think it's really, like you said, I think it could be cathartic. I think it could be sort of like, I don't know. I mean, everybody's got a story and people are curious and, people like to talk to other people. And it's like a, new age diarying almost. It's like a new way to sort of like, put your stuff down. I think it's awesome that people are into it. I know I like doing it.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. It's the new radio show, because radio, I know is on its way out, and I think it is something that like Twitter, where people feel a connection. Like they talk shit to you on Twitter, they're like, man, I know Michael Rapaport now, and right. I think that's what it is you get to, if you do a podcast, and that's what really turned me into doing a podcast, because I'm like, I don't understand it, I don't get it, I don't even know what they are. But one of my friends was like, dude, people want to hear your fucking stories. I know you're a nobody, washed up NBA player, but people want to hear your stories. We laugh our asses off listening to your dumbass tell stories. You need to let the world in on it, and you can make some money on it. I'm like, all right, cool.
Absolutely, man.
So I think that's what it is too, man. People love listening to you, whether they agree with you or not. They love listening to you.
Your career, I was going over like all the stuff and just at college and, and playing for Roy Williams and Kansas and the Paul Pierce and the Greg Ostertags. I mean, Roy Williams, he's such a like iconic coach, and, he wins, he loses, he's indicted, he's not indicted, they're scared. What was it like playing for Roy Williams?
Roy is a guy that, with impeccable discipline. That man, he doesn't cuss, he doesn't drink. His father was an alcoholic, and he's religious, but the cussing and the not drinking comes from life experience and a discipline more than it comes from church. His father was an alcoholic, so he didn't drink. And he implored us, hey, when you're in college, what are you doing drinking in it anyway? It makes you a worse athlete. It makes you dumb. It makes you forgetful. And nothing good happens after midnight. Everybody's heard that one, especially if you're a parent. So why are you out drinking? Why would you? And I came up as a Mormon. I grew up as a Mormon, so I didn't even drink in college until I turned 21, which was almost at the end of my senior year. So I didn't drink in college anyway. And then the cussing thing coming from Roy was something that he felt like he was more intelligent. That was the way he said it. He said, I grew up and I wasn't the smartest kid. And I came from rural upbringings where and he still has that North Carolina twang in his voice. But he said, I always wanted to be somebody that was intelligent enough to not have to resort to cussing to get my point across. And that rang true with me too, because it was just a discipline thing. It wasn't just like, oh man, cussing is evil or it makes you a bad person. It was more like, be intelligent, be smarter than to have to resort to cussing. Now, I never subscribed to that one because I cuss like a fucking sailor. But it's something that resonated with me. And in all areas of life, he was a father figure to me. My dad passed away when I was 16 years old. I went through the recruiting process, just me and my mom. And that's what I needed in my life. And that's why I went to the University of Kansas. I wanted to stay home. I wanted to go to UCLA. I wanted to go to San Diego State, where I'm from. I'm from Del Mar. You know, I was the poor kid, but for some reason I ended up in Del Mar when I was a kid. But, you know, I wanted to be out west. That's my place. You're there right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't want to go this far east. I didn't want to go to Kansas. I didn't want to be out here. But Roy was the guy that I needed, and I knew it. And I knew that even if I didn't play 1 minute for Roy Williams in college, that he would be a guy that I could respect his decision-making. Being the youngest of 6 kids, my dad is in the State of Utah Hall of Fame. He was a highly recruited player. All my brothers and my sister were recruited to play college basketball. So I had been through it before, and all of them had problems with their coaches, whether it was getting fired or not lasting through their tenure. Like, no matter what, none of them went to a college where their coach was their coach for the whole time. And back then, you couldn't transfer, you couldn't get away. So then also the new coach comes in and is like, well, I didn't recruit you. So they end up like quitting or transferring and losing eligibility, all that kind of bullshit. And so I knew that I needed to go to a college where I respected the man. And if I was going to be there for 4 years, he's going to be there for 4 years. And I made Coach Williams promise me that he wasn't going to leave for that North Carolina job, which we all knew was knocking on the door. At some point, he was going to go. And this is a little inside tidbit. I don't know if a lot of people know this, but Nick Collison, the legendary Oklahoma City Thunder player, he's still there. The last Sonic that's still on the team. The last Sonic that was drafted, I mean, KD was drafted after him, but KD's gone. He's the last Sonic that's still in the franchise. So he's a legend in that franchise. And he was the last one that Roy Williams, to my knowledge, promised that he was going to be there all 4 years. And then, of course, Roy left. But he's a great man, and I don't talk to him all the time, but I always try to keep up with him and see how he's doing. I don't know all that stuff in North Carolina, what happened out there. You know, I'm outside looking in, it looks like somebody took a fall. But when I talked to him about it, the only response I got was, how some idiot thinks that I'm just supposed to know every single detail about all the kids' lives at all times.
Right.
That's pretty much it. You know, and so it's guilty because you're the head, you're the president of that corporation, and there's wrongdoing in that organization. Yeah, there's some culpability there and some fault to be placed on you. But Roy is a guy that was always stand up. I didn't get paid in college. I don't know, and I can't say that about all my teammates that I played with. You mentioned Paul Pierce, Greg Ostertag, Jock Vaughn, Race LaFrance, and Jared Haas was my other starting 5 player when I was a senior. 4 out of 5 of us were first-round picks.
Right.
And so who knows if that went on. I know I didn't. I wish I did. I was poor as hell in college.
How crazy was it playing in Allen Fieldhouse? Like, how intense, like how passionate are the fans there?
It's the best. If you've never been, put it on your list. It is an incredible place to play basketball. It's an incredible place to watch basketball. I was just back there a couple weeks ago, and I just got chills thinking about it. The fans, the students are on both end zones, and they kind of wrap around the corner a little bit, and then they put the season ticket holders and the big money people in the middle. There's mostly just bleachers, which sets it apart from a lot of places. Obviously, nowadays they all have seats with chair backs and all that stuff. So it holds 17, but they limit it down to 16 because of fire code and all that kind of stuff. It used to be 17, I think, back in the day when I played there. But now I think the max is like 16.3 or something like that. And it seems smaller than that, but it's because they don't have all those seats. But the bleachers hardly get used anyway. I mean, most of the game, the students stand the entire game. And I've never been to Cameron Indoor. But what I've heard about it is, yeah, the students are right on top of you, but it is a smaller environment. It's a great place to see a game. It's a great place to watch a game, but it's very different than Allen Fieldhouse, which night in and night out. I mean, we got kids camping out for games hours ahead for exhibition games.
Right. Not
even the national TV games on Saturday, or, you know, when they're a big-time game against a non-conference opponent or whatever, you know, when Kentucky comes to town or whoever it is. But it's preseason. They're out there waiting in line and holding the place in line for, I think they can hold up to 20 students, and one person has to be there from their group. And they check in at random times to make sure nobody leaves, and they do their homework in line. I mean, it's just an unreal atmosphere. It's a really, really unreal atmosphere. It's such a cool place to play basketball. And every single time I ran out of that tunnel, I tried to soak it all in and tried to remember that I was one of the luckiest people on the planet to be able to play for the place that started basketball. The inventor of the game was our first head coach.
That's crazy. That's cool. That's cool that you were conscious of that. What was the most intense arena to go into on the road?
Oh, Missouri, no question. No question. Every time we went to Missouri. I mean, Kansas State was in the state, but we never lost there when I was in school. And in fact, it took 20-something years when they moved from their old Ahern Fieldhouse at Kansas State to the new Bramlage. They didn't beat Kansas at home in Bramlage for 20-something years. And I was in the middle of that. I was in the 16 or 17 year, somewhere in that span. But anyway, Missouri. We would get off the bus, and obviously Missouri's out of the conference now, but we would get off the bus in Missouri, and every year they would have someone's jersey on a stick, and they would light it on fire as we walked off the bus and into the arena. And it was intense, and they used to have these guys called the Antlers, and I think they still have some semblance of those guys, but they had to break them up because they were throwing batteries at us, they were throwing quarters at us, and they were yelling racial stuff.
Are you serious?
They made some funny posters. Oh yeah, it was awful. It was truly horrible. I mean, I can't even say all the horrible things they did because I don't want to relive it. But I mean, they had to break them up because it was just so bad. Some of the stuff was clever. Like before my time, there was a guy named Adonis Jordan and Rex Walters played on the team, and they were guard duos. And like one of their signs was Adonis Rex, and they made them look like they were stupid looking dinosaurs. And I thought that was kind of a clever, playful play on their names. But during our time, man, it was brutal. They would pick one player and scream out something every time he touched the ball. So you had to be tough. And that was my first, dealing with anything like that intense rivalry, that hatred. And I miss it. I miss that was there, not to that level, not to the racist level and that kind of stuff, throwing batteries, because you can hurt somebody.
Right.
But the intensity of that rivalry, that actually started with pro-slavery and anti-slavery. I mean, it literally, the Kansas and Missouri border war is because Kansas was a free state and Missouri was a slave state, and they burned each other down. People from Missouri went to Lawrence, Kansas, and burned it to the ground twice. They were called Quantrill's Raiders. So, I'm not going to go into it and give you a history lesson, but I mean, that rivalry actually started from real bloodshed, unlike Tobacco Road, which is going on, and that's cool. That's a great rivalry. I mean, the statistics with that one is just unbelievable. They have the same amount of wins. They have like within 4 or 5 points of each other in the last 100 games. They're tied with all these other stats. It's ridiculous, but so that's a great rivalry. But there's nothing that I know of in sports that began with bloodshed and it's turned into a sporting rivalry, and now it's over. That's why I'm sad it's over, because it was such an intense rivalry, and that's the only place, Missouri, in my 4 years of college at Kansas, that's the only one I didn't have a winning record. I think we tied over my 4 years with Missouri. Everybody else we had a winning record with.
That's crazy. I didn't know the history of that. Junior year, soon to be official Hall of Famer Paul Pierce joins. How good was Paul Pierce as a freshman?
We called him Bambi because he was all elbows and knees, like like when Bambi goes on the ice and he's skating around, he just falls. That was what Paul Pierce was. His freshman year, he was all elbows and knees. He was the same height, but he hadn't filled out at all. He was a string bean. He hardly spoke because he was so shy. When he got to campus, he was still just barely 16 or 17 years old. Like he had just turned 17 when he got to campus, I think. So he was so young. And he, like on his recruiting trip, he just wore his headphones the whole time. I don't remember him talking with him without his headphones on. He was just so young. But his freshman year, we knew it. You could just see how good he was going to be because he was so awkward and gangly, but still effective, still getting to the rack, still so strong, even though he wasn't strong yet. And that was one thing that was so surprising. And a lot of people, some people have talked about it, basketball people have talked about it, but a lot of people that aren't really basketball people but are fans don't realize how strong Paul Pierce was with the ball. Try to figure out a time when somebody knocked the ball out of Paul Pierce's hands. It didn't happen a lot, if ever. He was so strong. Even though he looked doughy, Paul could just grab that ball and go up with it, and he'd take the hit and and the ball's going with it. Hardly ever could you knock the ball out of Paul Pierce's hands, even as a freshman when he was skinny and Bambi-ish.
In your draft class, a guy named Tim Duncan, I guess he turned out to be something. Chauncey Billups, another guy, Tracy McGrady. These guys, I never heard of some of these guys. Some of them I heard of. The Duncan guy kind of rings familiar. These draft workouts. Did you ever have any of these draft workouts? What was it like? Were there any stories? What was that process like for you?
Well, I've got two stories. I'm going to tell you about my draft workouts first, and then I'm going to tell you about me and Tim Duncan after that. But my draft workouts, I got invited to all the teams that had like the last part of the first round, because nobody was predicting me first round, maybe late first round, but mostly second round. Everybody was kind of saying that. So I got 22 was I think Milwaukee or Atlanta. But either way, it was like 22 to 29. I think at the time there was only 29 teams in the league, and so everybody was. It was Milwaukee, Atlanta, Chicago, Utah. But I didn't go to Utah because I already told the GM that I wouldn't go there. I'm from there, and I was like, I would love to play for the Jazz. I'm related to everyone in the whole state of Utah. I'm a Mormon, so I was like, I'm gonna have a ticket nightmare. I could fill the arena with family members and still piss everybody off. So I just said, I just don't want that headache every night in my personal life having to deal with filling that arena for 41 home games. Anyway, so it was New York Knicks and the LA Clippers, and Detroit had the first pick of the second round. And so I went to all these places, and Detroit flat out told me, we don't want you in the first round. We don't think you're going to go that high, but we do have the first pick of the second round, and we hope you're available, and that's what we're working out for. I said, all right. So I worked out with some of the same guys, and some of them were different guys. But, it's always big guys in your position, or if that's who you are. If you're a point guard, they work you out with other point guards. And, the guys that were the Chauncey Billups and the Tim Duncan, those guys always can take a pass because they know they're going to get picked first. Why go risk injury and potentially dropping in your draft stock and having a bad workout? So they tend to skip their workouts, or they have private workouts for the teams to come watch them nowadays. But back then, they just skipped them, and nobody invited them because they wouldn't show up anyway. But, I worked my butt off, and I remember in Atlanta, I was working against a guy, and I made him quit. I busted his ass so hard, I made him quit. He walked out of the workout. He said, fuck it, I don't even want to play for this team anyway. That's how hard I busted his ass. So my draft workouts all of a sudden turned into upping my draft stock. So on draft day, I'm wondering why my roommate of college, the best man at my wedding, Jock Vaughn, hadn't been picked yet. And I'm sitting there going, man, 13, 14, 15, 16, all of a sudden 19 pick. I see Jock on TV a little bit, but I see me on TV. I'm like, oh, okay, they must be picking Jock because they're showing highlights. And I'm in Vegas in a sports book because back then it wasn't like it was on national TV. That was the only place I could watch it in Vegas. And I didn't go because I wasn't planning on being in the first round. I wasn't going to be one of those guys just happy to be there. Hey, guys, all right. So I was watching, I saw it, and all of a sudden I'm like, holy shit, that's me. They picked me at 19. And then all of a sudden my phone started ringing, and I get kicked out of the sports book because you couldn't have your phone in a sports book. But that was it. Is I beat everybody up in my workouts, and I moved all the way from the late part of the first round to the 19th pick. To Detroit, who basically got bullied into picking me because every single team I worked out with said if I was available, they were going to take me. And Detroit was like, well, shoot, if they're all going to take him, then we better take him. And that's really what happened. And so the other story I have with that draft is in college, we played against Wake Forest. Kansas played against Wake Forest. I think it was my freshman year against Tim Duncan. He'd been playing basketball for like 5 minutes at the time. And we were in the NCAA tournament, and I beat him up. Like, we beat the team. But I had a double-double on Tim Duncan, and I outstrengthed him, and I outquicked him. I've been playing basketball my whole life, and got it. And the reason I know is because Jared Hass, again, a former teammate of mine at Kansas, played with Tim later on at a USA Olympic Festival or something like that, and he was like, man, Tim Duncan hates you. He will never forgive you for that. Well, he took it out on me in the NBA. But the real story here is, and this is true, I verified it with Greg Popovich when I was doing some media stuff for the Pacers. That year, when we were getting drafted, they had probably a 25-second discussion about possibly picking me instead of Tim Duncan with the first pick.
Jesus.
That's a fact. Can you imagine the difference in San Antonio Spurs history, the franchise history? I guarantee they wouldn't be worth $1.5 billion right now if Scott Pollard was the first pick of the 1997 draft instead of Tim Duncan.
That's crazy. A brief conversation.
Yeah, the GM is a KU guy. He was an assistant coach under Larry Brown, R.C. Buford, and he's still there.
Mm-hmm.
And Greg Popovich, they saw me play, and I told you 2 years ago I was doing some stuff for the Pacers, and I caught up with Pop, and I was like, "Hey man, is that a rumor? Is it true?" And he said, "Yeah, actually." Well, it was a very short discussion, but we talked about it. And one of my other guys on our media team asked him, he said, a follow-up. He said, "Well, why?" and Pop was very generous in saying, I was more polished at the time. I was stronger. I was more savvy. I was quicker. And I was more NBA ready than Tim Duncan was at the time. But they decided to take the gamble on his upside. And damn it, they were right.
Yeah, they were right. So playing against Tim Duncan throughout his entire career, I mean, like, he's a guy that we always forget. He was so understated as a player. And then, you know, based on what we see as a fan, you know, he's low key. He's a guy you may never see again around basketball. He might pop up for an anniversary of this or pop up. He just doesn't seem like, you know, he seems like he marches to the beat of his own drum, similar to you. What was it like guarding Tim Duncan when he got his groove with the Spurs and through his career? What made him so good?
Well, once he got strong, again, and even his first couple years in the NBA, David Robinson had to take a lot of the blows for him, but David's back was bad. So I ended up guarding David more than I guarded Tim because David was more effective early on in Tim's career and our career. But when Tim finally got strong, you know, he started using those McHale-type moves. That's another guy that people don't mention when they talk about power forwards in the history of the game. Both of those guys were so technical and could just murder you with a half of a second step on you. And it's hard to describe to people that don't have to battle with 250-pound guys all the time. But Hakeem Olajuwon could out-quick a point guard. I guarded him my rookie year. And he was so quick, he could do kind of stuff like that. Tim, it took him a couple years, but then it wasn't like he was the quickest guy. We all know that. We all know he wasn't the guy that was all slam dunking on everybody, catching alley-oops all the time. But what Tim knew how to do better than anybody else in our generation was use his body, like Kevin McHale. That's why he got that description there, the comparison. So once Tim, and he was good anyway, right away, but once Tim got his strengths and started getting the flow of the NBA game, he could just outperform with his body. He knew how to use his body so well. And I always go back to the Kevin McHale comparison because there are players that can overwhelm you with their size and strength and ability, like Shaquille O'Neal, guys like that, or Hakeem Olajuwon, who was so quick. But with Tim, he wasn't the most athletic guy. He wasn't the strongest guy. Even towards the end of his career, he wasn't the strongest guy. And especially towards the end of his career, he became one of the less strong guys. But what Tim knew how to do was be sneaky athletic. He'd dunk on you if he had to, and he could. But more than that, he knew how to get position on you, be able to create just enough space to get that little soft hook off or to turn around and shoot that banker fadeaway. And just all he needed was a little bit of space. And he knew exactly where you were going to be, and he would go just a little bit away from that to get his shot off when he was weaker. Then as he got stronger, he could use his body and get in there and get that hook over you without getting an offensive foul or without having to bang you down and try to get you right underneath the basket like Shaq would always do and back everybody down and then dunk on their face. Tim just got you far enough underneath the basket that it was a short little hook for him, and then he would just create half a centimeter of space, and that's all he needed to get his shot off without getting it blocked. So it was more of his body control and his ability to use his body to leverage himself into a scoring position without having to be brute strong, without having to be freakishly athletic. And it was just such a mental game. And Tim, the only thing that wasn't fun about playing against Tim was he didn't talk. If you could get him to talk, then I would have had more fun with him. I like to talk to guys. Some guys I would talk a lot more to because they were more verbal. Tim, you throw something at him, he would just and then he'd score 25 points on you and 15 rebounds, and you wouldn't even realize it. You've never realized how bad of an assassin Tim was until you looked at the stat sheet. And you go, damn, he had 18 rebounds? I didn't even realize it.
And when you're faced up on him and he gets it in the post and he turns around on you from 12, 14 feet out and shoots a jump shot off the glass, I mean, he makes it look like it's so easy. I feel like that's one of the hardest shots to make. Those shots that he used to make from, mid-range, off the glass, in your face, just like a machine, over and over and over. I mean, that's got to be almost worse than getting dunked on, right?
It is, because it's so much more frustrating. Because as I mentioned, it was just barely over your hand. And I was a decent shot blocker. I wasn't an excellent shot blocker, but I was a decent shot blocker, and I'd alter a lot of them. And honestly, Tim had to develop that skill. He had to be able to shoot that glass shot, because if he tried to go straight in, the arc of his hand would be different, and he did get him blocked early. And that's where he had to adjust. And so he's like, well, if I shoot it a little bit higher, they're not going to get blocked. I'm not going to become more athletic than I am. I just am as athletic as I am. So that's how smart he was and how much he practiced on his game and worked on his game, that he said to himself, well, I'm trying to shoot straight in, and they're throwing it back to me every time. So I'm going to turn around and shoot this high arcing shot off the glass. No one can touch it. And it's just a centimeter out of everybody's reach in the whole world. It was like Kareem's skyhook back in the day. You can look at it, but you're not touching it, because that's the kind of arc that he put on it. He developed that skyhook so that he could overcome all those shot blockers. And that's exactly what Tim Duncan did with that jump shot. It was so frustrating, because you're thinking, oh, I got him. I made him sell out and turn around and try to shoot this J in my face. But then all of a sudden he shoots that high arcing thing off the glass, and you're like, there's no way that's going. Oh, my God, it did.
Yeah, you said that you like to talk shit. You like to talk, you engage. Now you're in my wheelhouse here. So, I mean, you played so many years. Who are some of the great trash talkers? You played against Kevin Garnett, who I don't know if he was talking trash. He talked to himself. He talked to, he just never shut up. So throughout your career, who are some of the guys that would get into it?
Well, first of all, I am not a shit talker like you are a shit talker. I'm West Coast shit talker. There's East Coast shit talking, and then there's West Coast shit talking, and maybe there's going to be some kind of war over that someday.
That's funny.
I was more subtle. I was the kind of guy that I would try to get under people's skin, because, like Tim Duncan, I knew my limitations, and I knew what I could do, and I knew what I couldn't do. And for the hotheads, if I could get them talking, I could get them worried about this dumb white guy that they think is an idiot, that they think isn't any kind of business in the NBA. Well, that's the kind of person I'd get under their skin and frustrate them. And so that was part of my game, was just trying to get people off of their game. Whether it's me talking to the crowd while I'm guarding them, like, oh my God, this guy, he thinks he's a superstar. Oh my God. And all of a sudden they miss the shot because they hear me getting the crowd laughing at him. And so Kevin Garnett, you mentioned him. Hated playing against him. He hated playing against me. When we were teammates in Boston, my last year in the NBA, we still personally, we knew that grudge was there, but it was great being on his team. And that's the way it was with me, with guys that I hated playing against. If I got the chance to be a teammate of theirs, then I knew why I hated them, because they were competitive, like myself. They were a guy that would do anything to win, like myself, and that was Kevin Garnett. And he was part of the reason we won that championship, was because he was such a bully. And you got to have a bully to win a championship. You got to have somebody that's going to be able to tell everybody what to do. But I mean, I got to guard Charles Barkley when he was posting up down near the 3-point line, running the offense from there. And he just didn't stop talking. He was hilarious. And that's part of where I got mine from, was it doesn't have to be degrading. And that was my West Coast thing, where I'm just kind of subtle and laid back. I don't go at people, but I'll certainly, if they start talking a little bit or they get frustrated, then I'm going to make them think more. Then I'm going to get under their skin. But I love getting Kevin Garnett frustrated. In fact, one time when I was with the Kings and he was with Minnesota, we were in Tokyo playing against each other. And we got talking in the game, chirping back and forth. And then we were going out the same tunnel, of course, because it was over there. And we're in the tunnel, and he started yelling white boys, something like that at me. And I turned around. I was like, I got some choice words for you that I don't use, but I can if you need me to. And, it was an NBA fight. Nothing happened. We got pulled apart. We didn't even get close to each other. And it was like, I'm going to get you. And a lot of cuss words ensued. And it was just, typical NBA fight, which nobody gets hurt. It's all screaming, and then there's just fines handed out. But luckily, this one was in the tunnel. Nobody knew about it. So there was no fines or suspensions or anything like that. And then in the second half, I gave one hard foul, and the referee called a check. So my coach took me out, because it was just like, all right, fine. We're gonna solve this right now, and we won the game. So, gosh, I love talking with Shaq. Shaq was great. If anybody
I bet
had a reason to try to take a swing at me and punch me and try to knock me out, it was Shaquille O'Neal, because all I did was hang on that man for 11 years, because it was like somehow I got this reputation that I'm the Shaq stopper, which I never was. Nobody could stop Shaq. I slowed him down once in a while, but dude dropped 55 on me one game, with help from my counterpart Vlade Divac. But there's slowing somebody down and then there's stopping him. I never got close to stopping Shaq, but I hung on him. I would talk to him. He'd make fun of me or this or that. I think he had a little bit of respect for me, and that's why he probably never swung at me. And I know for a fact that one time when I was a free agent in Sacramento, he called my agent and said, "Hey, can you get him down here? I don't want to play against him. I want to play with him."
That's funny.
So I took that as a huge compliment, because the Hall of Famer wanted me on his team, and that was back when he was with Kobe, and they beat us. We were supposed to win the NBA championship in Sacramento in 2002, and they got us. They got us and ended up taking out the Nets with ease in the finals. But I love talking against him. I love
how
talking
good
to Dwight
was he?
Howard.
I mean, obviously we know, but like when you're in there with somebody in his prime like Shaq, he's a fucking beast. He's one of a kind. One of the most, if not the most physically gifted basketball players ever. And you're in there and it's like the inevitable is going to happen. He could post you so low to the basket. How challenging was it to guard Shaq? I mean, was there anything like, or if you're going to do something, do this? Like, is it avoid contact? Like, because you can't out-muscle him, correct?
No, I could hold my ground more than most. Because I was a pretty strong guy at 265, 275 throughout my career. But, he was 350, 380. He said he was 310. No. Because I know what that weight feels like. My dad was 380 before he passed away. I know what 380 feels like. And all my brothers, 4 of my brothers are bigger than me. So I think that's part of it. It was like I had that training growing up of just giants beating on me when I was a kid, trying to learn how to play game and try to use my body to fight back against guys that were much bigger and stronger than me. And so I think that's part of why I was not ever intimidated by Shaq. And, it's a battle of attrition. You just do what you can. Vlade was a flopper. And then I'd go in and I would bang against him and I'd get a couple fouls, but Vlade would get a rest and then he'd come back in. And so it kept Shaq on his toes, because he's like, okay, who's guarding me? Is it the flopper or the guy that's going to stand up and I got to knock him down, So I think that is why maybe I was a little bit more effective at that point in my career, because we kept Shaq guessing. He had to make sure that it was either Vlade or me guarding him, or if it was Chris, because we all threw very, very different defensive looks at him.
Right.
Vlade was just so crafty. He sometimes wouldn't even touch Vlade, and Vlade would fly in the air like he had just been slammed in the face with a nuclear bomb, and he'd get the call. And then I'd go in there and I'd get slammed in the face with a nuclear bomb called Shaq's elbow. He knocked me out one time.
Did he really?
And, when I hit, with his elbow. And I remember waking up on the ground and Chris Webber staring at me, going, "Hey man, calm down. We need you. Because apparently, and I don't remember this, apparently I was screaming, "I'm going to fucking kill him. I'm going to fucking kill him." And I got up. When I got up and I realized they called the foul on me, then I really lost it.
That's crazy.
Because I was like, wait a minute, he just knocked me out with his elbow and the foul's on 31?
That's crazy. So you literally went out for a minute.
I was out, and I popped right back up, and I remember playing the rest of the game, and I remember going out to dinner at night, and I couldn't chew my food because my jaw was stuck open. It was so sore, so I just kind of had the soup with dinner and tried to talk with my friends, and I drooled my drinks back out of my mouth, and then the next day I could finally close my jaw with some pain. But I was out until I hit the ground. I don't remember getting hit. I've seen the video of it, but I don't remember it. And I don't remember Chris. Chris told me that. Chris was like standing on me, and I remember him saying, "Stop it, we need you." So that's my Shaq knocking me out story. But I never took anything personal. As I said earlier, I'm surprised he never took a swing at me. So it must mean he had a little bit of respect for me, because I wasn't dirty. He knew that. And I'd talk to him. I'd be like, "Big fella, you still got that motorcycle?" Or whatever. I'd just talk to him. And then we'd get into it. And but it was never animosity. It was not like Kevin and I or Dwight Howard and I. Dwight was a hothead earlier in his career, and I read an article that he wrote recently, and it seems like he's finally maturing a whole lot, and I'm happy for him because early in his career, he had a lot of problems, and he admitted to it. He's matured quite a bit, and I'm very happy for him. But I don't have any animosity for him, but he was a guy that I could really get under his skin. I could talk to him all day.
He seemed like it. He seemed like he was vulnerable
really
to that.
Frustrated. Yeah, he was so narrow, too. He looked really strong, but he was like 225, and I could put my hand across his whole lower back. That's how narrow he was. My hand, I could just control him, put one hand on his lower back, and he'd be like, "Ref, he's holding me. He's holding me." The ref's like, "He's got one hand on you. That's not holding." It was just that he was so narrow, I could just push him around, and he hated that. And so I'd talk to him. I was like, "Man, you need to hit the weight room. You look all strong, but you got pretty muscles. You don't have strong muscles. You got pretty muscles."
I like
he
that.
Hated that. He hated that.
2001 series. You're with the Kings. This is an iconic Sacramento Kings team. Rick Adelman, you had the arena. People used to bring the cowbells in there. You used to drive Phil Jackson crazy. This is the Tim Donahy series, the NBA ref who was shamed. When you found out that Tim Donahy was gambling on games, were you like, holy fucking shit? Did he stick out as a referee to you at all? Like, do you have any memories of him? And like, how mind-blowing was that when you found out about that?
Well, first of all, there's not that many NBA referees. If you've been in the league for 3 or 4 years, you know most of them by first name because you see them, and it's the same group of people all the time. So yeah, I remember Tim reffing a lot of our games. But first of all, it was 2002 was that game, the game 6 that was in the Western Conference Finals. It was 2002 Western Conference Finals where game 6. Seemingly, a lot of people, there's controversy. Ralph Nader wrote a letter to the NBA commissioner saying, "Hey, something went wrong there. That was not legitimate." And to that, I say, okay, fine. Let's say that existed and it was illegitimate and the referees fixed the game. Let's say that. I'm not saying that, but let's say that we still had Game 7 at home and we laid an egg. We didn't take care of business at home. We earned home court advantage. We had the best record in the league, 61 wins that year. And we were dominating everybody all year long. We had a winning record against the Lakers that year, and we had home court advantage against them in a 7-game series. That's why you have 7-game series, so you can earn home court advantage, and we earned it. And then in Game 7, we shit the bed. So we can't say, "Oh, man, we should have had an NBA championship if it wasn't for the referees," even if you subscribe to that. And I'm not saying I do. Certainly, we were all scratching our heads. Certainly, it messed with our mind. Certainly, it altered our perspective going into Game 7. But can we blame the entire series on the referees? No. And I ever would I blame any game on a referee because let's say it comes down to a call at the end of the game and you go, oh man, that call went the other way and it should have gone our way and that's why we lost the game. Well, you shouldn't have been in that position. If you're a better team, one call can't make or break a game for you. And yeah, it might be the last call of the game and it might be the one with 1 second left on the clock. But if you had gotten 5 more rebounds in the game, it's a blowout. If you had made your free throws, you win by 4 and that call doesn't matter. And that's where I look at it from a long-term perspective. Were you perfect throughout the game? No. Well, the referee made a mistake. It just happened to be at an important time in the game. So that's why I always try to translate to team, especially as I got older and especially after that experience, that became something I used to tell younger players. I remember telling LeBron that one time because he was talking about the referees after a game, and I told him that story. And he said, "You know what? You're right. You can't blame it on the referees because we should have been in a better position where one call doesn't determine the outcome of the game." And so back to Tim Donahy. Yeah, I mean, there was other referees that I had horrible times with, and the Kings had horrible times with. And I know some fans have done these crazy studies about if this referee reffed our games, we had a 25% chance of winning. And if this referee had refereed the Lakers game, the same referee reffed the Lakers during that time, they had an 80% chance of winning. So it was like they won 80% of the time, that guy reffed them, and we only won 25% of the time when that same referee reffed us versus other competition, not just versus each other. So, you can break it all down all kind of ways, and you can get all the conspiracy theories out there. The bottom line is Tim Donahy is a human, and he decided to take a different route and try to make some money on the side by gambling. I don't hate him, but nobody's perfect, and no league is perfect. There's bad shit going on in all the leagues. You don't know that. The social media brings everything to the light nowadays. you cannot hide anything. I don't know how anybody tries to commit a crime nowadays. I really don't. It's like, what, did you think you're not going to be on camera?
Right.
It's 2018. There's
Right.
cameras everywhere. So that's where I get stuck on people going, oh, yeah, Tim Donahy did this, and we should have a championship. A lot of fans have said that to me in Sacramento. And I go, well, first of all, Tim Donahy didn't ref that game. He wasn't there. He was in the league, and he refed a lot of our games, but he wasn't there for Game 6. He wasn't one of those referees. But he did come out when he was after he'd been caught, and he said the fix was in on that game.
Jesus.
He called it. He said it. He said, yes.
How tough was that loss that season? Because you guys had all the hope. You know, Weber was cooking. I mean, you guys, you know, you had been through sort of the natural evolution, which in my opinion has left the game with, you know, like going back to the 80s, you know, like Isaiah Thomas and the Pistons had to get over Boston. And then Isaiah Thomas and the Pistons had to get, you know, past the Lakers. And then they finally won it. And then, of course, Jordan, they had to get over their thing. And some teams get over the hump. Some teams don't. My Knicks never got over the hump. We came close.
Yeah.
You know, the 90s Knicks, the iconic teams, it's like, you know, we didn't get there. That team were your Sacramento Kings, and that loss to Shaq in his prime, Kobe in his prime, Phil Jackson in his coaching prime, and just everybody that was a part of that Laker team. How hard was it to sort of accept, yo, we're just not better than these teams? You know, it doesn't matter about the regular season. Like, we're just not going to get there. Because I was rooting for the Kings. I mean, you guys had Bibby, and before that you had my man White Chocolate. It was, I mean, that was an iconic, that was the last of the great Sacramento Kings teams. How tough was that to sort of swallow? Like, fuck it, man, we're just not as good as these guys.
Well, after that season, it did. It was like, damn, are we ever going to? Because it wasn't like that was the first time we saw the Lakers in the playoffs and the first time we had some success with them or against them, because we averaged playing them the whole time I was at Sacramento Kings for 5 seasons. We played them twice in the preseason, 4 times in the regular season, and then most seasons, I don't know exactly, I think it was 3 or 4 out of 5 of the seasons I was there, we played them in the postseason too. So we were averaging double-digit games against these guys every year. That's how rivalries are born. And we're thinking, all right, we're going to get over it this year. We're going to get them this year. 2002 was the year, and it didn't happen. And then we go into 2003, and in the fall, my back breaks. I'm out for 4 months, and then I get back. First game back, I break my hand. So personally, I'm going, damn, I am never going to win an NBA championship. You know, that doubt crept into my mind, and I always did my best throughout my whole career, because you have to put doubt out of your mind and just work and work and work. And so I did. But I came back strong, beat the crap out of the Indiana Pacers in their building here. I had 17 and 18 or something like that. And then that summer during the draft, I got traded on TV. I didn't even know it.
Right.
But
you literally found out from watching TV.
I was watching the draft. I was playing cards with my friends in Kansas, and they were like, hey, turn the draft on. Some Kansas guys are going to get picked maybe. I was like, well, yeah, the sky is blue. Of course some Kansas guys are going to get picked. But, yeah, we'll watch the draft, see if they get picked. And then with the 13th pick of the 2003 NBA draft, there's a 3-team deal, and I'm one of the pieces. I was like, damn.
Right.
So I had no idea. But to your point, Mike, you know, the run was over in 2002. 2003, our minds were shook. Are we ever going to do it? And then when I got hurt, I'm not saying I was the biggest piece of the puzzle, but I was a big piece of dealing with Shaq. And throughout that year, 4 months of the season, I was out. You know, we played them a couple times, and there was nobody to bang against Shaq on the team. And then all of a sudden, that summer, I get traded, and then they got Brad Miller, and, you know, he took a swing at Brad Miller. He didn't like playing against Brad Miller because Brad couldn't mess with him physically. You know, it was just he would poke at him and foul him and just hang on him as opposed to banging with him and trying to stand up to him, which I think Shaq, again, respected a little bit about me more than other guys.
When you got traded to the Indiana Pacers, this is Reggie Miller in his last few years, Jermaine O'Neal, Ron Artest before he was Meta, Jamal Tinsley. This is like, another iconic, team from the early 2000s. Larry Bird is the GM. First of all, Larry Bird, did he ever come around? Like, you hear these stories, like he'd come into practice. Did he ever come actually and shoot around in practice? Did you ever see Larry Bird, the GM, shoot around when you were with the Pacers?
Shoot around, no. He was always wearing a suit and dress shoes, but he'd come in and be like, where do you want me to make it from? And then he would make it from there.
And then leave.
And then he'd walk. Yeah. But never like getting into clothes and shoot around with us. No. But you're right. It was. We got to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yep.
To 03-04, and Detroit took us. But that was another team that got over the hump finally. They were in the finals in 2001. Then Larry retired from coaching, became a GM, and they're trying to make pieces of the puzzle fit around Jermaine and Reggie's last few years of being a superstar. And we got over the hump. We got to the Eastern Conference Finals, and all of a sudden, you know, Detroit steals one from us. We had the best record in the league. And I'm sitting there going, damn, I'm in the Western Conference Finals, best record in the league. I'm in the Eastern Conference Finals, best record in the league. And we get just one play. And again, I've never blamed a loss on a referee, but I can certainly blame it on a teammate. When we make boneheaded play after boneheaded play after boneheaded play. And then, you know, after that, then the next year we tried it again, almost got there. And then the Malice in the Palace happened, and that was the end of that.
What? You were there that night, right?
Yeah, I was in a suit, but I was there, yeah.
So what do you remember about that night? Like, how crazy was the Malice at the Palace?
I've never been scared in an NBA game, and I wasn't scared in this one. But it was a surreal feeling when all of a sudden the people just started pouring onto the court because, you know, back then there wasn't the security protocol that there is now to get into an NBA game. You go through a metal detector. Back then you didn't. And I think part of the reason why you do now is because of that. Because they didn't have nearly the security staff they needed to be able to stop people from getting onto the court. But it was that. It was the people coming down. You don't know if they've got a knife. You don't know if they've got a fork. You know, whatever. And so that was a little bit nerve wracking. But again, the closest I got was Jermaine was down by me towards the end of the bench, and we're just kind of trying to stay near the bench area because we're trying to avoid fines and penalties and all that kind of stuff. And this dude comes running onto the court, and you could see it in his face. As soon as he got close to us, you saw his eyes change into "I'm going to get him" from "I'm going to get him" to "Holy shit, they're a lot bigger in person." And he started to go back on his heels a little bit, and Jermaine was like, And luckily for this man, Jermaine slipped on some soda or some beer or whatever's on the floor, and he missed him because Jermaine was throwing a 270-pound, 7-foot-tall man. All he could put into it, haymaker at this poor dude. And luckily Jermaine slipped because that dude would have been dead. There's a reason there's weight classes in boxing and wrestling and all that because there's physics. And Jermaine was putting everything he had into that punch, and he still hit the guy on the shoulder and knocked him right on his ass. But if he had hit him in the face or the temple, that man might not have got up. And so right after that, that's when we skated out, and that was the close action that I have the biggest memory of that night. There's other stuff, but that's the biggest memory I have of that night is how lucky that dude was that Jermaine slipped because, yeah, Jermaine would have killed him.
When you guys finally got into the locker room, like, again, you know, it's not that long ago, but technology has changed so much, and we have so many more cameras everywhere. When you got in the locker room, like Ron and Steven Jackson, I mean, you know, like this incident that no one planned, I'm sure everybody came to terms with the regret and like what the fuck happened. Like, what was going on in the Indiana Pacers locker room after such a chaotic, unpredictable event happened? Do you remember like what anyone was saying?
Yeah. This is the funniest thing maybe I've ever heard in my whole life. Ron Artest, now Meta World Peace, he looks around at everybody as we get calmed down, and finally guys are stopped screaming at the coaches for trying to calm us down and all that stuff. Like the adrenaline calmed down a little bit, and Ron looks around and goes, "Y'all think we're going to get fined for this?"
He said that, huh?
That's a true story. We all started dying laughing like, "Ronnie, you just tried to kill a man in the stands of a game." Yeah, there's going to be some fines and some suspension.
That's crazy. You played with LeBron James, young LeBron James, went to the finals, San Antonio. Obviously, we all know the rest of his career. When he was that young and that good and like a one-man wrecking team with that Cavs team, when you're an old man and your great-grand could say, "Uncle Scott, what was it like playing with LeBron James?" What are you going to tell them?
Well, I've already been asked that question by a lot of people, and I always say the same thing. He was young, and we wanted him to be a better leader. But looking back, he wasn't old enough to be the leader. I mean,
what does that mean, better leader? When you say that specifically about him, what does that mean?
Well, when you're the best player on the team, you kind of have to be. Whether you're the oldest guy on the team or the youngest guy on the team, you kind of have to be the leader because you got the most minutes. You got the coach's ear more than anybody else. You got the management's ear more than anybody else because you're the highest paid asset in the organization. This is a business. And so when you're the highest paid asset and you're the leading minute getter, you've got to be somebody that's willing to take the last shot. You've got to be willing to yell at somebody else that's not doing their job. You've got to be willing to take the hit in the media after the game and look at everybody in the eye and say, it's on me, even if it's not. And he was only 22 or 23 at the time, and he wasn't that guy yet. And we all wanted him to be because we're all vets, like not all of us. But I'm saying, David Wesley, Danielle Marshall, me, Zydrunas Ilgauskas, we're all over 30 years old, and we're kind of looking at him to be the leader of the team, and he's looking at us like, hey, y'all are over 30. I'm 22, 23 years old, whatever he was. And so looking back, we might have put a little too much pressure on him, even though it was possibly justified, especially for David and Danielle and myself, who were playing spot minutes at best. You can't lead from that position. You can't jump on the court from the end of the bench where nobody's even aware that you're there and go, LeBron, take the shot, and screaming at the best player in the league. And he wasn't the best player in the league at that point, but we knew he was one of them and going to be the best. And so I think that would be what I would tell my kids and my grandkids. And what I have told my kids is that we knew that he was in the makings of being one of the greatest of all time, but at that point, he wasn't.
Gotcha.
Because although his physical ability got us all the way to the NBA Finals, it wasn't anybody else. It wasn't anybody else. He dragged our whole sorry roster to the NBA Finals.
That's crazy.
But what took us apart in the finals and made us get swept by the San Antonio Spurs was we ran into a team that functioned like a machine, that didn't matter who got the points. And they shut down LeBron, and all of a sudden the rest of us are like, well, we've been riding coattails. We can't figure it out. We don't have a third option. We don't have a legitimate second option. And LeBron ran out of gas, and he just couldn't carry us all the way to a championship. Now, if he was 28-year-old LeBron in that same scenario, I think LeBron could have taken us to a championship.
Wow. Against that
but
Spurs team.
22-year-old couldn't have.
You think his greatness at 28, he could have carried that team if everything shifted forward? Wow.
I think because of the way his game has evolved over the years and the way he has matured and become a better teammate and a better leader, yeah. I think if it was 28-year-old LeBron in the same shoes, everybody else was the same, but he was 28 instead of 22 or whatever he was, I think that we would have won an NBA championship that year in 2007 because it was simply a fact that his physical ability got us to the finals, but his mental and emotional stability wasn't at that point what was needed. I'm not saying it was deficient. It wasn't terrible. He just wasn't where he is now.
I got you. All right, let me ask you the final obligatory question then. You played with LeBron. You know the game. You're articulate about the game. You played against Kobe in his all-out, full throttle, prime assassin with Shaq. Jordan, I think, is better than all of them. Kobe, LeBron, who's better? Do you even answer that question? What is your take on that sort of? It's like an obligatory question. What is your take on Kobe, LeBron, Jordan, but specifically LeBron and Kobe because you played against Kobe in his prime and played against LeBron when he was, he wasn't in his prime, but he was still LeBron James.
Who's the better player?
Who's the better player?
Kobe.
Why?
Kobe made all the shots. Kobe never deflected. Kobe took the heat, and I don't like Kobe personally. Like I've run into him a couple times personally. I don't hate him, but it's not like I'm going to ever be like, "Hey, Kobe, we should go have some drinks or some dinner or something, hang out sometime." I don't like his demeanor. I've never been a fan of Kobe Bryant, so it's hard for me to say that. But I think that Kobe was an absolute killer. When the game was on the line, you knew Kobe was going to get the ball like Jordan. You knew that he was going to get it in the fourth quarter, and you knew he was going to make the shot. Now, with LeBron, and this is when we were teammates, but I've also watched him since, in that fourth quarter, when the game is on the line, how many times has LeBron hit a game winner for his team? And how many times do you know for a fact Kobe has hit the game winner for his team? I mean, to me, there's no comparison between those two. Now, who's the best player one-on-one? Maybe ever. probably LeBron. Because LeBron puts up numbers against anybody, any size, any time. But I'm talking about the best player to make his team win, the Mamba. And it's hard for me to say that. Between those two.
I got you.
I put Jordan in a different category, and I'm sorry, I've heard how you feel about the olden days, but Wilt Chamberlain was the greatest basketball player that has ever played and ever will play this game.
We got to have another. I got to have you back. I got to debate you on that, Scott. This was so good, and honestly, I can't wait to do your podcast. I would love to, we could talk about whatever you want on Planet Pollard. I'll do home court, and then I come to your arena, and then we do home court. We could keep doing it until the wheels fall off. I'm gonna let you go, Scott. This was awesome, man. This was fucking dope. I love all the stories, all the insight, all the information. Now, like I get hyped. This is why I podcast is to to talk to guys like you about something that I just have so much appreciation for.
Hey man, I love it, and you just said it. Home court, away court. When you're on mine, you're gonna do most of the talking. And that's how I'm just saying. Like when I get interviewed and somebody starts talking over me and doing all the talking, I'm like, why am I here? Well, that's because I'm not normally on your podcast, and so when you're on mine, I'm gonna set you up, and you're gonna fly.
Let's do it.
I want to ask you questions about your life and your stuff because I don't know all about it, and I want to know more about you, and so I can't wait. I appreciate that you gave me the opportunity to come on my podcast because I'm just starting, so I appreciate it, man.
Let's do it, Scott. I appreciate it, man.
All right, man. We will talk soon.
I'll talk to you soon, Scott. This was awesome.
Thanks, Michael.
All right, bye. All right, what can I say? Scot Pollard, great guest. I'll be visiting his podcast ASAP, whenever you want me, whenever you're ready. Thanks for rocking with me on the I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast. We're done. We had fun. We came. We saw. We conquered. Miles, Jordan, take us out of here with something real funky, something real proper, something real nice. I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast. I'm out.